26 pounds. That's Jamie Coates, 29-1 from Milton. He's a senior, 17 years old. He'll be opposed by Dan Winter of Franklin. 30 victories, no losses. 18 years old. He also is a senior.
Might point out that single loss that Jamie Coates has is to Dan Winter. Dan Winter was able to defeat him in the finals of the Badger State Invitational in the latter part of December.
There's a takedown right away for Dan Winter. Dan, 5 remaining. A takedown in the first 15 seconds, first period. 126-pound class.
Marsh, that was awfully close to being near fall points right there. Dan Winter is a very, very strong young man. He's perhaps as strong 126-pound wrestler as I've seen here in the University of Wisconsin Fieldhouse. And this time he did receive the 2 near fall points from referee Gene Harms.
WIAA sports are presented by the WIAA network, whose members are WKOW TV Channel 27 in Madison, WAOW Channel 9 in Wausau, WXOW Channel 19 in La Crosse, WVTV Channel 18 Milwaukee, WLUK TV Channel 11 in Green Bay, and WEAU TV Channel 13 in Eau Claire. 57 seconds remaining here in the first period. Dan Winter leads it 4-0 over Jamie Coates of Milton. Coates is coached by Dan Pernat. He's been there for 10 years, and he was a University of Wisconsin wrestler and NCAA runner-up in 1967 at 190 pounds. Winter is coached by Jim Keepers, who is in his 14th year at Franklin.
Once again, Winters has Coates in trouble. He's really working over Coates' arms. He's very, very strong, and he appears to be giving Jamie Coates a lot of trouble with his attack on the far arms. Now he's attempting to cradle Jamie Coates. I don't know. I thought that referee Gene Harms counted on the last pin attempt, so I believe, yes, he did. The actual score is 6-0 with 4 seconds to go in the period.
Well, they haven't put the score on the scoreboard yet, Dwayne. There are just 2 seconds remaining, and Dan Winter leads it right now. Coates will be in the down position. He'll have 2 seconds to try to get out. That's the end of the first period. And all of their friends are here to watch him wrestle in the state championship. Second period, 6-0, Winter leads it.
If I had to point to a factor that seems to be becoming increasingly more important in this match, Marsh, it'd be the tremendous strength that Dan Winter has for a 126-pound wrestler.
Well, I think it has to be kind of a psychological advantage also to know that he's already beat Coates once this year and handed him his only loss, as you mentioned.
Very true, Marsh, and I believe the score was something like 6-2, so it was a reasonably convincing victory.
Coates also a very fine student with a 3.7 grade point average, and right now he'd like to use some of that intelligence to get out from underneath. Winter is in on a leg. No points awarded, 1:10 remaining here in the second period as they're just about off the mat on the far side. And they are off the mat, and they will come back to the center.
Might point out, Marsh, that Jamie Coates is a year-round wrestler. He competes all summer in many of the freestyle tournaments and has put a tremendous amount of effort into getting to these state finals.
Well, Dan Pernat's doing a fine job at Milton, and there's a young man on your wrestling team, Bruce Brotzman, who was at Milton last year, and he, of course, has a good future in front of him also.
One of Jamie Coates' closest friends.
.35 seconds remaining. Second period of action. 126-pound class. Dan Winter of Franklin. He's in the black. Jamie Coates of Milton. Both young men are seniors. And they're off the mat again. His birth tonight. Coates beat Greg Kane of Ellsworth 5-2 and Mike Gilliland of DC Everest 8-3 to make his way into the championship match. 8 seconds remaining. Second period, 6-1, Winter leads it.
Thus far in all our matches, Marsh, it seems like the young men wrestling really have the ability to...
What's the warning?
I believe it was another caution, Marcia. I think the noise in the field house and the excitement of the state finals caused the young men to be a little jumpy, and they're having a little difficulty staying still while the referees start them.
Dan Winter leads it 6-1. He is on the way to a state championship. Franklin has had one previous state champion, Dan Wiza, at 154 pounds in 1969, so it's been a long time for them. 134 remaining.
If Jamie Coates is going to win this now, he's going to have to take Danny Winter down, and I would think almost turn him to his back. He's down by 6 points.
Rules, it has to be replaced before the action can continue.
7-1, a minute 22 in favor of Winter. Jamie Coates spun all the way around. He's really making an effort now to score on Dan Winter. He realizes he doesn't have a lot of time left, and he's down by 6 points.
And I don't think he really fooled him, though, with that move.
Once again, Dan Winter's power was able to hold him off. He's a very, very strong young man. For
Dan Winter won the Badger State that was held here in the field house last December also. We're under a minute in the match. 7-1, Dan Winter leads it.
The same effort again by Jamie Coates, but again, Winter was not fooled and was able to hold him off.
They're off the mat with what happened. Dan Winter will go on to finish the season unbeaten and win the 126-pound championship over Jamie Coates of Milton. Both young men, good students, good experienced wrestlers. Nothing to be ashamed of to lose in the championship match here in the field house, no matter which one it might be. Nothing at all. 10 seconds remaining in the match. Winter leads at 7-1, and that's frosting on the cake as Winter gets 2 more, and he now leads at 9-1 as the clock runs out. 2 seconds, 1 second, and Dan Winter is the 126-pound state champion. He beats Jamie Coates 9-1. There they are, right in the middle of your screen. Dan Winter, the 126-pound champion from Franklin, Wisconsin. And now we go to the 26 pounds. In 5th place, Greg Kane of Ellsworth. The 4th place finisher, Terry Halverson of Dodgeville. 3rd place, Mike Gilliland of DC Everest. 2nd place, Jamie Coates of Milton. And the 1978 state champion at 126 pounds, Dan Winter of Franklin. And there's a good look at that young man. We'll be back with more wrestling highlights after these messages on your WIAA network station.